were in the chapter molecular basis of inheritance. In today's session, we will discuss about the next topic, that is transcription. In NCERT textbook, it is under 6.5. What is that process called? It is transcription, right? So now, today let us discuss what is transcription. We know central dogma molecular biology, the three main essential steps of molecular biology. The first one is replication. Replication means making its own copy. Then the DNA gets converted to RNA. The message which is present on the DNA, the code which is present on the DNA is copied by an RNA. The process of making RNA from DNA is called as transcription. Then the transcribed RNA will translate into a protein, and protein is a language what cell knows, and the cell will do the function using that protein. So the three main steps are replication, transcription, translation. So what is transcription then? It's the process of copying the genetic information. It's the process of copying the genetic information from one strand of DNA into RNA, right? So what is transcription? It is the process of copying. What are we copying? The genetic information. We are copying the genetic information. Where is the genetic information present? It is present on DNA. Copying the genetic information from one strand of DNA. From one strand of DNA into RNA. You are copying the DNA into RNA. What is this process called? This is nothing but transcription. Is called transcription. Did you understand? What is the definition of transcription? It is the process of copying. What are we copying? The genetic information. Where is the genetic information? On the DNA. We are copying the genetic information which is present on the DNA. Actually, DNA is double-stranded. RNA is single-stranded. So, we need not copy both the strands of DNA. We are copying the genetic information which is present on one strand of DNA into RNA is called as transcription. What is the main principle behind transcription? Who are they? Watson and Crick told that the mechanism of replication, the principle behind replication is semi-conservative, base complementarity. So, in transcription also, the principle is base complementarity only. Like G is there means C will come, C is there on DNA means G will come. So, what is the principle in transcription? The principle which is there for replication, it is the same in transcription also. What is the principle? Principle is base complementarity only. The principle is base complementarity only. Even though it is base complementarity, we know that thymine will not be there in RNA. Instead of thymine, uracil will be there. So, on the DNA strand, if A is there, when you need to make an RNA, this is a DNA. If you need to make the RNA molecule, actually if it is another DNA, then T will come. But in RNA, instead of thymine, uracil will come. So, we are telling in RNA, instead of thymine, uracil will come, right? Uracil is seen. So, in DNA, A is there. If it is opposite DNA, T will come. But it's RNA. So, in RNA, U will be replaced by T. U will be replaced by T. Now, if T is there, DNA has thymine. So, if T is there, then T pairs with A. So, that means in RNA, we have A. So, here, guanine is there. G pairs with C. Then in RNA, cytosine will come. In DNA, if C is there, on RNA, G will come. So, this is what is called base complementarity. A purine always pairs with a pyrimidine. A pyrimidine always pairs with a purine. A purine pairing with a pyrimidine. A pyrimidine pairing with a purine is called base complementarity. In replication also, the principle is base complementarity only. In transcription also, the principle is base complementarity only. Making DNA from DNA is replication, that we told it's autocatalysis. Here, from DNA we are making RNA, so the transcription process can also be called as heterocatalysis. So, we can also call transcription as heterocatalysis. Why is it called heterocatalysis? Means because from DNA we are making RNA. So, now what are the differences between replication and transcription if we have to see? The differences between replication and transcription. Now, in replication, it is the process of copying the entire genome from one end to the complete one end, right? So, whereas in transcription we are copying a message and that message will make a protein. That means the complete DNA sequence is not getting copied. Only a part of the DNA which codes for a protein is getting copied. So, then in replication we tell it is the synthesis. It is the synthesis of entire genome. Entire genome gets copied. Whereas in transcription, a part of DNA gets copied. A part of DNA gets transcribed. A part of DNA gets transcribed into RNA. In DNA, from two strands of DNA, from this parental DNA, we get another DNA. So that means both the strands are copied. In replication, both the DNA strands are copied. Both the DNA strands are copied, isn't it? In replication, this strand is copied and you will get this strand. This strand is copied and you will get this strand. So from one DNA molecule, you will get another DNA molecule. Whereas in transcription, DNA is double stranded but RNA is single stranded. Means even though there are two strands of DNA, but the RNA will be only single stranded. Means only one strand is copied. So only one strand is copied. In replication, both the strands are copied. In transcription, only one strand is copied. Here, the complete DNA is getting synthesized. Here, only a part of DNA gets transcribed. Since only a part of DNA gets transcribed here, so we need to define the boundaries from here to here. So, boundaries are to be defined. Boundaries are to be defined. No boundaries. There is no requirement of boundaries because it starts from the start point and it goes till the last point. And again, since here only one strand is copied, we need to tell like which strand of DNA should be transcribed. Which strand of DNA has to be transcribed. Since there are two strands, only one strand will be transcribed into RNA. So, which strand to be transcribed have to be decided. Have to be decided. But here, since from both the strands you are not getting both the strands, like there is no point like which strand and what, right? So, these are some differences. And the major enzyme in replication, we tell it is DNA dependent DNA polymerase. The enzyme will do replication processes. It reads the DNA, it makes the DNA. So, DNA dependent DNA polymerase. It depends on the DNA to make one more DNA. Whereas in transcription, DNA dependent. It will read the sequence on the DNA. But what it is making is RNA. So, what is getting polymerized is RNA. So, transcription is done by DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. What is the enzyme here? It is DNA dependent RNA polymerase is an enzyme here. Whereas it is DNA polymerase there. Understood? So many differences are there. So we are going one by one. Now, when both the strands are there, but only one strand will get transcribed into RNA. So why both the strands of DNA are not used to make double-stranded RNA is a question. We can justify with some explanations. So what did we discuss here in this board? We started our next topic 6.5 transcription. What is transcription? It's a process of copying the genetic information which is present on DNA into RNA. It's called as transcription. What is the principle of transcription? It works on a principle called base complementarity. What is base complementarity? Purine always pairs with a pyrimidine. Pyrimidine always pairs with a purine. Pyrimidine always pairs with a purine. But the thing is, adenine will pair with U in case of transcription in RNA because T is not there in RNA. So, this is RNA. In RNA, I do not bring T here. A pairs with T if it is DNA, A pairs with U if it is RNA. This is a difference. In RNA, instead of thymine, uracil will replace, right? Then, Making DNA to DNA is called autocatalysis. Making RNA from DNA is called heterocatalysis. We are making RNA from DNA, it is heterocatalysis. If we have to simply see few differences between replication and transcription, replication is a synthesis of entire genome from this end to that end. Whereas transcription, only a part of a gene which codes for a protein gets transcribed. Now in replication, from both the strands we make another 2 strands. From 2 strands we make 2 strands. But in transcription, from 2 strands you will make only 1 strand. Only 1 strand is copied here. Since the entire genome is copied, no need to define the boundaries. You started from the first alphabet A, you can just go to the last alphabet Z. But here it is not like that. Since you are copying a gene which codes for a protein, you need to define it from here to here. So boundaries need to be defined here. And since from 2 strands you are getting 1 strand, which strand acts as a template? From which strand you are transcribing should also be defined. Which strand of the DNA has to be transcribed into RNA should also be decided. The enzyme which does replication is called DNA dependent DNA polymerase. It's depending on the DNA to make the DNA, to polymerize the DNA. So DNA dependent DNA polymerase. But here it depends on the DNA to make RNA. So DNA dependent RNA polymerase is enzyme for transcription. If you want to take the screenshot, take down, then we will go to the process. Right? Now, I asked you a question like, even though the DNA is having 2 strands, why the RNA is single stranded? Even though it has a possibility to make 2 strands from both the strands of DNA, why only 1 strand is copied? Why the other strand is not copied? Let us see now. So we can explain this with 2 simple reasons, right? So one, we will tell that 1 strand of DNA, 1 sequence of DNA, it codes for a protein. Now if it is like this, these are the 2 strands. Now 1 strand is to 5, right? So the other strand will be 5 to 3. So the sequence is ATGC. That's what the sequence they gave in NCERT. ATGC, 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 like that they have given the sequence. Now the opposite strand of DNA, since A is there, opposite strand of DNA has T is there, opposite strand has A, G will pair with C, C will pair with G. So it is T, A, C, G, T, A, C, G is the sequence follows. Now this is 3' to 5' and this is 5' to 3'. They have given a sequence like this. Now if this is the DNA molecule, if both the strands act as templates, then they make RNA with different sequences. So we'll give 2 points of explanation why why transcription happens only for 1 strand, why RNA only single stranded it is there. So we'll tell, if both the strands act as templates, what happens? If both the strands act as templates, they code for different RNAs. So you have seen this code is different, this code is different. Means this strand can make one RNA, this strand can make another RNA. 2 types of RNA will come from the same gene. Okay. If both the strands act as templates, they code for different RNAs and in turn different proteins. And in turn you will get 2 different proteins, right? Means one gene is making 2 proteins. See here, if one gene make 2 proteins, that means it's getting complicated. It is getting, so one English word should have only one meaning. It should not give many meanings, right? So that means if one gene codes for many proteins, then it's complicating the transcription machinery. So unnecessarily it complicates the transcription machinery. So we don't want to do this. We don't want to complicate the transcription machinery. We want to make it simple. That means one gene should code only for one RNA. one RNA should make only one protein. That means this gene is an insulin gene, codes for an insulin protein. This gene is a glucagon gene, codes for a glucagon protein. It's not like one gene can code for insulin also, that gene can also code for glucagon. If that gene is defective, then both the hormones are defective, then the person will face too much of complication, isn't it? So that is why even though two strands are there, only one strand should act as a template. If two strands are acting, since I showed you the sequence on this strand is different and sequence on this strand is different, it will make two different RNAs. If two different RNAs are made, two different proteins. So it should be like a word should have a same meaning. It should not have 2, 3, 4 meanings like that. So unnecessarily it is a complication. This is our first explanation. Then what is our second explanation? Now we tell that if it is coding, if this codes for one RNA, if the other codes for other RNA. So if both the strands act as templates, if both the strands of DNA act as templates, it forms two strands of RNA. It forms two strands of RNA. And you have seen here that A is complementary to T, T is complementary to A, G is complementary to C, C is complementary to G. That means in between these two strands, between A and T, two hydrogen bonds will be there. Between T and A also, two hydrogen bonds will be there. Between G and C also, 3 bonds will be there. Here also, 3 bonds will be there. Here, 2 bonds. Here, 2 bonds. Here, 3 bonds, 3 bonds, 2 bonds, 2 bonds. So, like this, hydrogen bonds get established between the complementary base pairs. Now, like this, if double-stranded RNA is made, if two strands of RNA are made, obviously they will also be complementary to each other. And if they are complementary to each other, it becomes double-stranded RNA. It forms two strands of RNA which are complementary to each other. Now, if both the RNAs are complementary to each other, then they make double-stranded RNA. Then you will get double-stranded RNA. Now, children, if DNA, if mRNA itself is double-stranded, like the mRNA itself is double-stranded, then this is the double-stranded RNA. Now, can it interact with rRNA then? Can it interact with tRNA? It should be free, right, to interact with the other one. It is already blocked. It's having bonds in between. So then it cannot start translation. Translation will start when all the 3 RNAs interact with each other, mRNA with rRNA and tRNA. Since here the RNA which is formed is double-stranded, like what happens? It cannot proceed to transcription. Double-stranded RNA cannot proceed to translation. It cannot do translation, means double-stranded RNA cannot interact with rRNA and tRNA. It cannot proceed to translation. Then the cycle is called futile cycle. So you are not getting any protein out of the process. It leads to a futile cycle. So these are the two explanations. We can tell that even though there are two strands of DNA available, why the machinery is using only one strand to make one strand of RNA? Why not it is using the other strand to make another RNA? First we told we don't want to complicate the process. We want to tell that always a gene codes for one protein only. If a gene codes for two proteins, is complicating the transcription machinery. That should not happen. Second point, if both the strands of DNA code for two strands of RNA, since the way DNA is complementary to each other, there is base pairing, then the RNAs which are found from these strands also will be complementary to each other, then base pairing will be there also, then it will become a double-stranded DNA. Double-stranded DNA cannot interact with rRNA or tRNA and translation, it cannot proceed, it leads to a futile cycle. Understood? So this is explanation we will tell why transcription is single-stranded. Now we told in the previous board like boundaries need to be defined. Means we need to tell this is a unit from where transcription starts and transcription ends. So that unit is called as transcription unit. So our next topic is transcription unit. So what did we see on the board? We have seen the 2 points to tell like why transcription should be single-stranded only. So you can take a picture if you want, screenshot. Yes. Now we will move on to what is transcription unit. So we told boundaries should be defined, complete DNA need not be transcribed. So those boundaries are called as transcription unit. That is 1, transcription unit. Transcription unit, what regions it has? Okay, so transcription unit, it has 3 regions. What are the 3 regions? A transcription unit has a promoter region, it has structural gene, and it has a terminator region and a terminator region. Promoter region is the place where the process starts. Structural gene is the one which gets transcribed. Terminator is the place where the process stops. The starting point is with the promoter, the ending point is with the terminator, and between the one which codes for an RNA or a protein is called structural gene. Now we will see what is a transcription unit in terms of diagram also. Now if we have to draw the diagram of a transcription unit, here we go, right? This will be 3 prime then. Since the first nucleotide is at the 5 prime end, the growth is towards this direction, so we have given the arrow here. And 5 to 3, 5 is the first and 3 is the last nucleotide, so that's why we have given the arrow here. And in this region, we are telling the promoter is at this end. So this region is called as promoter region. This region is called as promoter region, and the other region will be called as terminator region. So children, this region is called as terminator region, and in between part is called as a structural gene. So this is structural gene, and this is the transcription start point. This is the start point. So we told this is one transcription unit. A transcription unit has a promoter. I told it has a promoter region, it has a structural gene, and it has a terminator region. Here I showed this is the promoter region, and this is the structural gene, and here is the terminator region. This is the terminator region. Okay, and this much middle part is called the structural gene. Means we can tell that the structural gene is flanked by promoter on terminator on either sides. If I am like this, so if one child is this side to me and other child is this side to me, that means I am flanked by 2 children on either sides. Like that, the structural gene is flanked by promoter on and terminator. We can write that. The structural gene is flanked by promoter and terminator. By promoter and terminator. The structural gene is flanked by promoter and terminator, we can tell. And then if we see this is the place, here I told arrow mark and I told this the start point. From here the mRNA synthesis starts. Then the base which is present on the DNA here is called +1 base. So this will be +1 base, +2 base, +3 base, +4, +5, +6, go on. So the point where transcription starts, the base which is present there is symbolized by +1, +2, +3, +10, like that it goes on. Now then before region, what is this before region where promoter is there? So then it will be symbolized by minus, right? So the promoter region has a base sequence where we can symbolize by minus regions. 0, minus scale it is, minus 1, minus 2, so minus 3, minus 10, minus 20, minus 30, like that it is, okay. And terminator is at the plus end only. Terminator is at the plus end only. Understood? In the previous board we have seen and we told that even though there are 2 strands of DNA, only 1 strand acts as a template, right? So now what is the direction of replication? 5 prime to 3 prime, that's a polarity. In the same manner, what is the direction of transcription? Transcription proceeds in 5 to 3 direction only. So transcription proceeds in which direction? It proceeds in 5 to 3. Means if the RNA synthesis 5 to 3, then the template should be anti-parallel 3 to 5. That means the DNA which is 3 to 5, acts as a template strand. Why the DNA which is 3 to 5 acting as a template strand? Because the RNA synthesis 5 to 3. If the DNA strand which is running 3 to 5 is a template strand, then only the RNA can go in 5 to 3 direction. Now if you see here, I have given 2 strands. One is blue color strand, other one is green color strand. Come on, tell me, which strand is in 3 to 5? Which strand is in 3 to 5? Obviously, the blue strand is in 3 to 5. That means, can I write that this is the template DNA and this will be the coding strand. So this strand which is in 3 to 5 direction will be called as a template strand. So this strand is called as template strand. If this is template strand, then what is the other strand called then? What is the green strand called then? Which is running 5 to 3 direction. Which is running in 5 to 3 direction. Now, the other strand, surprisingly, even it's not participating in replication. It's not participating in transcription. It is not coding for RNA. But then they name it as a coding strand. So what is the name they have given for this strand? This strand surprisingly is called as coding strand. Even though it is not participating in transcription, when RNA polymerase comes and when it is doing transcription, we will tell the coding strand. What happens to the coding strand? The coding strand gets displaced, we will tell it will come out. Okay. So when the RNA polymerase comes and reads the template strand, we will tell the coding strand is displaced, it comes out. That means coding strand is not participating in transcription. But then surprisingly, why did they give the name as coding strand? Let us see. Okay. So if you take a sequence, this is the 3 prime to 5 prime sequence of the DNA. So I will take a sequence as G, 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 G. Okay. So you told me that 3 prime to 5 prime acts as a template. So this is a template strand. This is a template strand. Then the other strand which runs below the template strand, which is in 5 to 3 direction, what did we call it as? Coding strand. What did we call it as? Coding strand. What is the code which is present here? Base complementarity. G pairs with C. So that means it is poly C. On upside, if it is poly G, bottom it will be poly C. Now let us do transcription also. Let us make an RNA. We told in transcription the RNA synthesis will be 5 to 3 and the template will be 3 to 5. Now RNA polymerase will come and read the sequence which is present on the template and it brings the complementary base. RNA is reading G, it will bring C. RNA is reading the second G, it will bring second C, third G, third C, fourth G. What it is bringing? All C's. Now carefully observe. The sequence of this RNA, is it the same of the DNA? Exactly, it is the same. The code which is present on the coding strand of DNA is same as that of the RNA. I did not give here, I did not take T. I can take T also. If T is there, here you have to bring uracil. Except that T and U changes, rest all the same code you can see on the RNA. Since it is having the same code, children, this strand, even though it gets displaced during transcription, even though it doesn't have any role in transcription, is called as coding strand. It has the same code of that RNA. There's another name. Coding strand is also called sense strand. What's the other name I gave for coding strand? I can also call coding strand as sense strand. Now you know what is meant by sense. Sense means polarity. Polarity means direction. What is the direction of coding strand then? 5 to 3 na? The direction of coding strand is 5 to 3. Now look at the RNA which you got after transcription. Is it also 5 to 3? Yeah, then means not only in terms of code, in terms of sense of polarity also these two strands are same. That's the reason coding strand is also called sense strand. That's the reason coding strand is also called as sense strand. Another name if you want you can give. So it's not a template strand. Template strand is opposite. So you can tell this anti-template strand. What's the other name we can give for this one? Since it's not the template, we can tell it is anti-template strand also. Okay. Now, in the same manner, then we can give the names for this also. Template strand, it's having opposite sense. It's not having 5 to 3, it is in 3 to 5. So, can I call it as an anti-sense strand? Opposite sense it is? Yes. So, we can also call template strand as anti-sense strand. We can also call it as anti-coding strand. So, it's not a code, it is opposite code. So, we can also call it as anti-coding strand. We just are keeping opposites. Template, anti-template. Then sense, anti-sense. Coding, anti-coding strand. So, these are the names. Understood? So, this is a picture of a transcriptional unit. So, then I showed you that here is a promoter and this is a terminator, and we told this is the structural gene. The structural gene is flanked by promoter and terminator, and this is the start point. The start point we are giving +1 +2 bases, and this basis we are going minus. This basis we are going minus. Now the promoter is towards a minus end then, and the terminator is towards a plus end then. Terminator we can write on if it will go 1000, so +1000 +2000, so like that the terminator goes on. At +1000 terminator can be there, it's prediction. At 2000 terminator can be there, so like that it is. So now this direction is called down the stream direction, and this direction is called upstream direction. So again listen, what is this direction called? This direction is called as upstream end. And this direction is called down the stream. So what is this direction called? This is called downstream. That means if I ask you, what is the direction of transcription? What's the direction of transcription? From here it's getting coded, right? So the transcription is downstream. Where is promoter located? I asked you. Promoter is upstream. Where is terminator located? I asked you. Terminator is downstream. So you understood what is upstream and what is downstream. So then promoter is upstream. The direction of transcription is down the stream. Terminator is down the stream. Okay. So since template strand participates in everything, coding strand gets displayed. Now it anyway gets displayed, but if you tell that coding strand you displace, it might fail. So that is why what the scientists have done is, so if you want to give the reference points, all the reference points, where is promoter located, where is terminator located, we will tell the references with respect to the coding strand. We will tell references with respect to the coding strand. Now come on, try. Where is the template located? So we'll take coding strand, and the promoter region is located at the 5' end of the coding strand. So let us write down. So where is the promoter located? So the promoter is at the 5' end of coding strand. I told you all the references you have to make with reference to the coding strand. This is a coding strand. Where is the promoter? At the 5' end. The promoter is at the 5' end of the coding strand. Similarly, where is the terminator? Terminator is at the 3' end of the coding strand. That also tell terminator. Where is it? It is at the 3' end of coding strand. Terminator is at the 3' end of coding strand. Promoter is at the 5' end of coding strand. Means all the reference points you are giving with reference to coding strand only. Understood? Understood. Now, promoters are of different types. There's a promoter called Tata box. There's a promoter called Hogness box. There are different promoters like CAT box is there, GC box is there. That when we are doing prokaryotic transcription, there I will tell you what's the prokaryotic promoter, where it's located. What is the eukaryotic promoter, where it's located. Not here, we will do it there. So means we have specific promoters in prokaryotic genes, we have specific promoters in eukaryotic genes, right? So where is terminator? Terminator is at the downstream end, promoter is at the upstream end. Understood? So understood this concept. So what we have done, we started 6.5 transcription. So we have done the next one, which is 6.5.1. We have done the transcription unit also. Then the next concept is transcription unit and a gene. That also we'll see. If you want to take a screenshot, yeah, you can take it. Right? So I can erase this. We'll go into the next topic, 6.5.2 now. The direction of transcription is downstream. The promoter is upstream to the structural gene. The terminator is downstream to the structural gene. The reference points are done with reference to the coding strand. The names of the coding strand are, it is called sense strand, it is called anti-template strand. Now our next topic is transcription unit and the gene. It is 6.5.2. It is, so transcription unit and the gene. It is transcription unit and the gene. So we know what is gene. Gene is a unit of inheritance. Gene is a unit of inheritance, is the functional unit of inheritance. So gene is the functional unit of what? Inheritance. Gene is a functional unit of inheritance. We don't have any doubt that the gene is located on the DNA. So we also know that gene is, where it's located? It is located on the DNA. That also we know. Gene is functional unit also we know. But if we literally, it becomes difficult to define a gene in terms of the DNA sequence. So it is difficult. It is difficult to define gene. It's difficult to define gene in terms of DNA sequence. Right? So again tell me, we are into a new topic, 6.5.2. It is transcription unit and the gene. Now what is transcription unit? We have seen it has a promoter, it has a structural gene, it has a terminator. Now what is gene? Gene is a functional unit of inheritance. Now where is the gene located? On the DNA. We know everything, but if they ask us to define the sequence of a gene in terms of DNA sequence, it is difficult. Why it is difficult means, so we will see the points. So there is a scientist called as Benzer. There's a scientist called as Benzer. Benzer explained three words, three synonyms of genes. So the term gene was coined by Johansson, right? So Benzer gave three words. One is called cistron. Another word is called recon. Another word is called muton. So gene can be explained in terms of cistron, recon and muton. These three words are coined by Benzer. What is cistron? Cistron is a part of a gene which codes for a polypeptide or a protein. So what is cistron? Is a portion of gene. It is a portion of gene which codes for a polypeptide protein, which codes for a polypeptide or protein. Insulin protein, glucagon protein, like that. So cistron is a part of a DNA or a gene which codes for polypeptide. Then what is recon? Recon is a unit of gene which undergoes recombination. Then what is muton? Muton is a region of a gene which undergoes mutation. So recon is a portion of gene. It is a portion of gene which undergoes recombination. Recon is a portion of gene which can undergo recombination. Similarly, muton is a part of a gene which can undergo mutation. So what is muton? He told it is a portion of a gene which undergoes mutation. Now we will see these two things in higher classes. Now let us stick to cistron. Let us stick to cistron. Benzer is a person who coined 3 words. What are 3 words? So cistron, muton and recon. So we'll hold cistron. What is cistron? Cistron is a part of a gene which codes for a polypeptide. Now, promoter, structural gene, terminator. Promoter is not coding for anything. Terminator is also not coding for anything. That means the structural gene codes for a protein. Now, prokaryotic genes, it seems, a gene can code for many proteins. That means prokaryotic genes are polycistronic genes then. That means a gene coding for many proteins. Cistron means one protein. Polycistronic means many proteins. Prokaryotic genes are polycistronic, means they code for many proteins. Eukaryotic genes are monocistronic, means one gene codes for one protein. So let us write down. So prokaryotic genes. Prokaryotic genes are polycistronic. What do you mean by polycistronic? One gene coding for many proteins. Means polycistronic means one gene coding for many proteins. So prokaryotic genes are polycistronic. So either side, eukaryotic genes are monocistronic then. Eukaryotic genes. What are they? Monocistronic. What do you mean by monocistronic? One gene coding for only one protein. One gene coding for one protein only. So remember this. Prokaryotic genes are polycistronic in nature. Eukaryotic genes are monocistronic in nature. And in eukaryotic genes, we also tell that the eukaryotic genes are split genes. Eukaryotic genes are split genes. Split genes means coding regions will be there, non-coding regions will be there. Coding regions will be there, non-coding regions will be there. The coding regions on the RNA is called as exon. The non-coding region is called as intron. This we will see it in the next lecture clearly. So split gene arrangement means coding, non-coding, coding, non-coding arrangement. So we are telling that eukaryotic genes are monocistronic. Okay, fine. The gene codes for only protein. Okay, fine. Eukaryotic genes are split genes. They have coding regions and they have non-coding regions. We are facing difficulty to define the DNA sequence in terms of gene, and the split gene further complicates the process. The split gene further complicates the process. The split gene further complicates the process because we are finding difficulty to define the sequence. Again, in that coding sequences are there, non-coding sequences are there. So this again complicates the process, and we tell that DNA came from RNA only. So we tell that split gene concept will explain RNA dominance. Split gene concept will explain RNA dominance, and it explains RNA world. It explains RNA dominance and it explains RNA world. So the first evolved genetic material is RNA. RNA with some chemical modifications got modified into DNA. So RNA has evolved the split genes and got modified into DNA. So split gene will tell the RNA dominance, and it will talk about the RNA world. So in our today's lecture, we discussed 3 topics. What is transcription? Why the RNA should be single stranded only, even though there are 2 strands available. The 2 points of explanation we have seen. Then the boundary should be defined. That boundary is called as a transcription unit, which has a promoter region, structural gene region and terminator region we have described. And then we came to the next topic, 6.5.2, and we discussed what is transcription unit and the gene. So what are these terms we discussed? Hope you understood this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll talk about the process of transcription in prokaryotes. If you like the lectures, like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.